there, over the last few weeks I've been testing SANDMARC's 6x, 2x, 16mm and anamorphic camera lenses with my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and today I would like to share with you my opinions in order to help you decide whether these lenses are useful in the real world or just a marketing gimmick. However, before we start, I want to mention that SANDMARC sent all the accessories featured in this video for free in exchange for an honest review on my YouTube channel. With that said, let's start. First of all, here are the prices for the lenses I'll be mentioning in this video. These prices include the standard SANDMARC iPhone 16 Pro Max case, which unfortunately I don't have. However, I do have the Pro case, which can be purchased separately for $40. This case is very lightweight, slim, supports MagSafe, has nice clicky buttons, a cutout for the camera control button, and two 17mm threads on the back for mounting camera lenses or filters. I don't know the exact differences between the standard and the Pro case. It might be the build quality, but in terms of overall lens and filter mounting features, I think they are more or less the same. It's just that the Pro case probably has better materials than the standard case. You also have an option for a leather case for I think $50, which has better build quality even than the Pro case. But as far as I know, all of them have the same features when it comes to, mounting lenses, filters, cutouts, and so on. Regardless, in terms of what you get in the box, each lens comes with a soft case, a hard shell case, a cleaning cloth, front and rear lens caps, and a clip-on mount to attach the lens without having to use the SANDMARC case. So let's say, for example, you don't want to use a case with your iPhone, but you still want to mount one of the SANDMARC lenses on it. What I can do is thread the lens on this included clip-on mount and then just clip on the lens on the iPhone camera, and that's it. You do have to align it properly for it to work, just like so. And it does move and wiggle around a little bit here. Also, it does take up some screen real estate here, just a little bit. But if you don't have like a case that has 17mm threads on it, this is by far and most minimalist option out there. Moving on, all of these lenses have a solid premium metal build quality, except for the anamorphic lens, which feels a bit cheap due to its flimsy lens mount. Don't get me wrong, it's also made of metal, just like the other lenses, but because of this, as you can see, it's like moving around too freely. It makes it very hard to adjust, to align the lens properly, to have proper vertical lines when shooting anamorphic. You do have an indication line in here to let you know when the lens is properly aligned. So you have perfectly horizontal lines when shooting with this lens. And also it makes these annoying noises. I don't know, it just feels a little bit cheap. I think they should have implemented a better design in here. And also when it becomes a problem is if you're using ND filters or VND filters or CPL filters, where you have to rotate the filter to adjust everything. So you can mount a filter in front of the lens, which is good. But now if I'm going to rotate the filter to adjust the exposure, it's also going to rotate the anamorphic lens, which is very annoying. That means I have to lock the anamorphic lens in place with one hand and then take my second hand and adjust the intensity of the VND filter. I just think they should have made it a bit more robust and maybe also add some locking mechanism to lock the lens exactly at the position it should be. And that's basically it. Regardless, all the lenses have a 17mm thread mount, which as far as I know is the standard for iPhone camera lenses. Also, each lens has a 43mm filter thread mount for attaching filters, like the SANDMARC 326 stops VND filter I have. This filter costs $100 and comes with a compact carrying case and a clip-on mount, allowing you to quickly attach the filter to your phone. However, if you want to mount the filter directly directly onto your SANDMARC case or any case/cage with a 17mm thread mount. You can purchase the SANDMARC 17 to 43mm step-up ring, which costs $15 and lets you mount a 43mm filter on any case with a 17mm thread mount. In terms of performance, this VND filter ranges from ND8 to ND64, which is more than enough for the iPhone, especially if you are shooting at low ISOs like I do. It also has hard stops at both ends to prevent issues like X patterns and vignetting, but it has a slight warm/green color shift and some vignetting, especially at ND64, but I find these issues totally acceptable since they are very common with most VND filters. All in all, if you're looking for a compact and easy to use VND filter for the SANDMARC lenses or just for the iPhone, this one is definitely a great option to consider. Now, when it comes to the optical performance, I'm mainly going to focus on how these lenses work for video shooting, as that's what I mainly do with my iPhone. And overall, I don't really have much to complain about when it comes to the optics of these lenses. Some of these lenses are better than the others, but overall, they deliver good optical performance. Starting with the 16mm wide, it basically widens the field of view of the 1x lens from 24mm to 16mm, which is a huge difference. And it works best for like landscape shots, vlogging shots, ultra wide shots, architecture, and so on. And I think it delivers fantastic optical performance. Yes, you do see some blur at the edges of the frame, but this is to be expected because it's not done like with a real mirrorless camera where you mount the lens directly on the sensor. Here you basically mount the lens on top of another lens. So you do see some artifacts at the edges of the frame, but I think they are not too distracting and the overall sharpness the 16mm provides is exceptional. Now moving on to the 58mm lens, which is a telephoto lens. This one basically is like a standard field of view for portraits, for like product shots and so on. I think it delivers better performance than just using the 2x lens on the iPhone, where basically the iPhone crops digitally on the main sensor 2 times. So here you basically crop optically with the lens and it delivers much better detailed results when it comes to just, using the 2x lens. Again, you do see some blur at the edges of the frame because that's just how these lenses work, but overall the sharpness in the center is very good, and considering how these lenses work with the iPhone, I think the optical performance is not bad at all. Now let's move on to the anamorphic lens, which is the one I would not recommend getting, not because it has bad image quality. It actually has pretty decent image quality, and also if you use this lens you'll have to use the Blackmagic camera app to de-squeeze the footage depending on what lens you buy. This one is 1.33x, but they also have 1.55x, so you'll have to de-squeeze that in the Blackmagic camera app. And overall the optical performance of this lens is great, as you see in this video and saw in this video, but because of the flimsy build quality I just cannot recommend this lens, honestly. It's just super annoying to use. Yes, you get the wide horizontal field of view, the cinematic look and so on, but it just has flimsy build quality, and personally I'm not really a big fan of using this lens. All right, finally we have the 6x telephoto lens, which is the one that I use the least from this bunch, and that's probably because I'm not really a big fan of telephoto lenses even on my normal cameras, but also because it was extremely hard to use this lens when it comes to nailing focus. You do have a focus ring in here to help with adjusting the focus, but first of all, it makes noises. And also, I found it to be very hard to adjust focus with this lens. The minimum focus distance is very far. I don't know exactly how much is it, and it took me about 3 minutes to set focus on myself. I wanted to get a portrait shot of myself to see how this lens works. And even after setting the focus on recording the video, shooting the video, it looked a bit soft to me. I don't know, it's just a bit hard for me to use. Maybe I don't know how to use it properly, or maybe it doesn't work well for video. Maybe for photography it works much better, but still it kind of looks soft. It's hard to focus. Maybe if it was a bit easier to nail focus, I would have recommended this lens, but so far it's a bit hard to recommend, especially if you're a beginner. I don't know, it's just very hard to adjust focus with this lens. So overall, the lenses that I would recommend getting from these four are the 16 millimeters. This one is very good. And the 58 millimeters, which now I think is discontinued on the SANDMARC's website. They do have now the 2x telephoto, which is basically, I think, the same thing. So if you want to experiment a little bit with your iPhone to get some different field of use, focal lengths and so on, I would definitely recommend getting the 16 millimeters and the 2x or the 58 millimeters. I also highly recommend the filter, the VND filter. It's more than enough for the iPhone if you're shooting at low ISOs. If you're shooting at a higher ISO like 1250 or 1600 to get a wider dynamic range, this is not going to be enough. But if you shoot at lower ISOs like I do, this is more than enough. And I think the color shift is very minimal. You barely lose any sharpness and there's barely any vignetting. And most importantly, it's very convenient to use. You can mount it on this included clip and then directly mount it on your iPhone without using a case. Or you can buy this step-up ring for 15 bucks, which goes from 17 millimeters to 43 millimeters, and mount the filter on it and then directly on your 17 millimeter threaded case, either the one from SANDMARC or maybe you have a different one. Like for example, I have a cage here from Freewell, and I can mount this thread in here. And now as you can see, I can put any filter I want with a 43 millimeter thread, or I can even buy like a 43 millimeter step-up ring to 67 or 72 millimeter and basically use any VND filter I want with my iPhone. Other than that, I think this is it for today. If you are thinking about buying these lenses and you have any questions or you want me to test something out for you, let me know down below or send me an email. And I guess I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.